Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vaneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chonenu Vaneinu, Ki ein banu masi.
Shana Tova. Welcome to Judaism's most sacred days, what in English are called the High Holy Days, but in Hebrew are known by the much more evocative Yamim Noraim, the days of awe. Awe is the unique mix of fear and excitement and reverence that attends life's most intense moments. And each fall, around Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, our tradition does its best to evoke those powerful feelings deep inside of us. So, what makes this season so awesome? Well, it all comes down to the practice of tshuva, a Hebrew word usually translated as repentance, but that actually means something closer to return. Beginning with the month of Elul, leading up to Rosh Hashanah and culminating in Yom Kippur, we're challenged to do something that's both scary and meaningful. To look really hard at ourselves in the mirror and to recognize the ways in which we've dropped the ball and to try to return to something better, a better version of us. When I think about this process of tshuva, the image that always comes to mind is of those famous red and blue signs in the British subway, the tube. They read, "Mind the gap." I know my potential, my values, and my very high standards for myself. And God knows I don't always live up to them. There's a gap. During the Yamim Noraim, we're called to honestly acknowledge, first of all, that gap exists, and then to take the time to think about what are the steps we can take to bridge it. The Jewish tradition doesn't assume that we're basically bad or sinful to the core. Here's a piece of good news. There's no original sin in Judaism. Instead, our tradition teaches that we each carry within us two equally powerful drives. There's the Yetzer HaTov, the compassionate, caring impulse, and the Yetzer Hara, the selfish, destructive one. It's 100% up to us which voice we listen to. And when we make the wrong choice, it's 100% up to us to set it right. So how does it all work? Well, the first step to any kind of growth is owning up to the fact that there's repair to be done at all. Elul, the Hebrew name for the month before Rosh Hashanah, is dedicated to this kind of self-reflection. It's called taking a cheshbon nefesh, which literally means an accounting on one's soul. In modern Hebrew, cheshbon is the check you get at the end of the meal. Imagine if you were delivered a bill at the end of each year that included all of the times you were stubborn or apathetic or harsh or on your cell phone in the car. Now imagine that nobody would write it out for you. You had to honestly self-assess and compose your check for you. It's not a simple task. Freud once said, when it comes to self-justification, we are all geniuses. But we need to be honest with ourselves about the ways that we've missed the mark before we can have any chance of starting to set things right. After a month of spiritual prep comes Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, the day in which we shift our focus from taking stock to taking action. Rosh Hashanah's most evocative symbol is the shofar, the ram's horn. This ancient instrument was once used by generals to call the troops to attention and action. Its role is to wake us up, to get us to pay attention to what really matters, to get down to work. It's like the starting gun at the beginning of a race. Ready, set, go fix whatever needs fixing. During the 10 days linking Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we're supposed to reach out to the people we've harmed, to make amends, to seek and offer forgiveness. This isn't a vague set of New Year's resolutions. And it's definitely not good enough to send a mass email or to post a blanket apology to social media. Hashtag I'm sorry, hashtag tshuva goals, hashtag new year, new me. This is the tough, messy work of reaching out one by one to the people we care about and trying our best to make things right. But isn't Yom Kippur the Day of Atonement? Why then is all of this tshuva work happening for more than a month ahead of time? The rabbis of the Talmud taught that Yom Kippur was only ever intended to reconcile people and God. For the ways which we let others down, they say, Yom Kippur is basically meaningless unless we've first made restitution to the ones we've actually hurt. In other words, Yom Kippur is mile 25 of the marathon, not the entire race. It's the day to put the finishing touches on the spiritual work of the days that precede it, so that by the time the final shofar blasts at the close of the holiday, we can honestly say that we've done what we could to return to our best selves. So for one day, we eat nothing and we drink nothing. We pause from all of our work and turn off all our distractions. Many of us will spend close to the entire day in synagogue, beginning with the haunting melody of Kol Nidre, which comes just at the moment of sunset on Yom Kippur Eve. The congregation, all dressed in white clothes, stands as 2 Torah scrolls are taken from the ark. The prayer is chanted slowly, over and over again. Its words ask forgiveness for all the ways that we had promised to be better in the past year, but had fallen short of our best intentions. Kol Nidre is meant to clear the slate for us to try again, to recommit to being better, knowing that we're only human and we're gonna make mistakes. 10 times over the course of the day, we recite the Vidui, the confessional prayer. This is a list of all the ways that we can fall short. Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu. We have sinned, we have transgressed, we have done wrong. The words of the confession are always in the plural. None of us have individually done all of the things on the list. But as we learned from the very first chapters of Genesis, we are our brothers and sisters' keepers. We're responsible for one another, not just for ourselves. Yom Kippur concludes with the most majestic service of all, Ne'ilah, the symbolic closing of the heavenly gates. As darkness falls and the long hours of the fast come to an end, we think back not just on the past 24 hours, but actually on the past 40 days. We imagine a great book, the book of life itself, open in heaven, recording our answer to a profound and personal question. Did we use this season of awe well? Have we set at least some things right? Are we ready to make a real change? This whole process is awe-inspiring. It's scary. It's liberating. It's intense. And to the extent that we take it seriously, these holy days are a time-tested spiritual technology that can completely transform our lives for the better.
מלך חפץ בחיים, וכל תבנו בספר החיים, למען לך אלוהים חיים.